Search for a new state superintendent and the controversy about the Educational Achievement Authority. That state district that operates 15 of the lowest performing schools could now be moved from the oversight of the Department of Education to the Department of Management, Technology, and Budget. That department reports directly to the governor. All right, Nolan, so people are sitting at home and saying, well, why does it matter who reports to whom? What is the bigger move here at play?
Well, I mean, this shows the break between the governor and the elected school board, which is Democratic dominated and pretty much union controlled. And the governor's done with them. He's not going to go into Detroit and make all of these reforms and structural changes. We expect some pretty radical stuff coming out at the end of this month. He's not going to do it and have the Department of Education undermine him or meddle with it. So in taking this department, this office, out from under their control by executive order, he keeps them out of the process. But not only that, he has a vehicle to carry all of the other reforms he wants to do in Detroit, place them in this, and keep them away from the education department.
Is it wise to keep an elected school board that were elected by the people of the state of Michigan away from possibly one of the most important kind of reform districts that you have?
I don't think so. I think that sends the wrong signal about who's in control of our schools and who's in control of reform. I mean, we already have this issue with emergency managers displacing democratically elected officials around the state. That's a necessity that's built into our constitutional structure. This is really not. This is just this is an end around of the democratic process that I don't think is a great idea. Now, substantively, DOE has not been a partner in the reform the way it should have been with the governor, but this is not the way you deal with that.
Most states don't have this sort of setup where you have an independent state school board apart from the governor. The governor should set education agenda, and that we really don't need an elected state school board. We've got one.
But that's the system we have. Yeah.
And he's trying to work around it. When I think this was triggered by, he took a look at their finalists to replace Mike Flanagan as state school superintendent, and he wasn't too crazy in the mix. One of the leading candidates is Vicki Markovich out of the Oakland schools, who is a vocal opponent of charter schools and school choice. He's not going to work with somebody who runs that counter to his own agenda.
But I think that's a real mistake. Being against charter schools, being against choice is a reasonable position. It is not the position that the governor has. He needs, and there are a lot of
position for a state school superintendent
who
will have to oversee those the same as other schools.
But it is a reasonable part of the conversation. Not everybody is as enthusiastic about charters or choice as the governor is, and he needs to work within the democratic process to determine what policies should be, taking into account those people who believe that.
He's not going to let the school teacher union set the agenda and block reform.
But the school teachers union is made up of school teachers. I mean, so you're telling the people who have to enact these reforms that they should have no say in how the reforms unfold.
He is not going to have somebody sitting up there and subject his agenda to someone who's completely every day trying to subvert it. And this was a shot over the school board's bow saying, look, you go in this direction, I'm going to take more and more away from you through executive order.
You're going to have a real problem with teachers, ultimately, and that's not going to be a real problem in schools.
It's an Obama move.
All right, well, we're going to have to see where this executive order and where it leads us.